Hey guys, so today we are going to do a little bit different format for this video. I'm going to interview Jannis. The idea is that all of us are biased in one way or another, and I just wanted to bring in someone else who is building a successful business in the AI space and get their perspective on the current trends, what works, what doesn't work, and share the insights with the community. So we have Jannis. I'm not saying this to be nice. You're actually one of the smartest people I know. So I'm super excited to have you here and get your perspective on the space. Just share what you do and what are your plans for the next year.
Sure. So my name is Jannis. I run my own automation agency. How I call it, voice AI agency. It's more like a niche approach of this whole voice agency model. So we go into voice, telephony, anything that is basically related to voice interactions with technology. That's our main focus.
Mm-hmm.
And it started all out due to me being in the automation space for, let's say, like 8 years. I built a workflow automation tool similar to Zapier for a specific niche because I love niches. You'll see that as well. And after selling that, I started my own agency in the voice AI space and just did YouTube videos about things. And I realized there's so much need for or there was so much engagement with Vapi or retail now as well, that it made a lot of sense for me to say, oh, wow, yeah, okay, let's just progress that, because the demand is just growing like crazy. And yeah, that kind of led me to go from YouTube to voice agency to actually sell solutions to businesses. And it's solely businesses for now. And yeah, that's kind of like how I entered, just going general, doing stuff about automation, chatbots, etc. But voice was the one that just sticked because there was the most demand. I think you see similar results right now, right?
Definitely. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that a bit more. So when did you start with the automations overall? And then when did you switch towards voice AI specifically? Just to have some time frames.
The whole automation stuff probably started in 2017.
Wow.
Back then I was developing websites. And we often had I'd say more enterprise clients that had the need for certain API integrations. And there was a lot of manual tasks involved. I back then didn't know about any automation stuff, but I noticed already that you can connect services together. You can make them talk to each other by just something like a request. And that led me to build my own internal tools for automating some tasks. I think the first one was bookkeeping. I don't like bookkeeping at all. So if you can connect a incoming payment that it directly talks to your accounting software, that is awesome. That was the first thing that I did for myself, just to get rid of this manual task. And while building these things, I realized the other people that I showed that to, they were amazed by how awesome that is and how easy it is to actually get a solution done that saves you so much more time than if you do this thing manually. And that brought me into this specific niche because I was in WordPress. So I built WordPress websites on PHP, which is a language we don't want to talk about. But the whole automation stuff, even in that niche, grew a lot. So I launched, I remember back then, my product on Product Hunt. It's like a platform where you can promote your little startup thing. And that did it super well. I think we turned second product of the day or something. So it was pretty decent.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And yeah, from there I started growing it. I think now at the end we have around 20,000 active users on the software. And it's still growing. I exited it, so I'm still in there with equity because I like it and it's obviously kind of my baby. I grew this thing. And yeah, from there I started, came back over to the automation space because I was building this automation tool. I understand things like make.com in depth because I know what they use as architecture behind it, how integrations look like. And that's why I had this little head start of the automation space, not the voice space and AI, but the automation space. So yeah, from there, I literally just started learning about AI. That's the main thing, and that brought me here.
Okay. So you've got this technical background.
Correct.
That's really great. I really believe that to achieve success in tech business, you need to have only two things. Someone who can build and someone who can sell. But the most successful people are those that can combine these two skill sets in one. That's you. I think one of the most known example would be Elon Musk. So he is technical and he is genius salesman. So that's really great. All right. So now can we dive a little bit deeper into voice AI? So currently your AI agency, do you take on AI voice projects solely, or you also do other automations or AI agents, or just tell us what it is?
Yeah.
And if you do voice AI, maybe let's dive into the use cases. What is the most common use case that people and businesses want you to do for them?
So first of all, yes, it's only voice.
Okay.
We do have some clients that later on want some upsell to chatbots. That's something we can do. It's not commonly, and we usually only do this for enterprise clients where we know they have like a massive contract size, where it makes sense for us to do that, to go into, because it's like a whole different thing. You need a lot of different experience building out those solutions. So yeah, we try to focus only on voice itself, even though it's still general. So we don't have a specific niche that we follow, because that niche is something we pursue probably very soon because of the program we released, but that's a different thing.
Okay.
We try right now to switch this whole agency thing towards one vertical, one specific use case. And I guess the way we did it is probably, in my opinion, a pretty decent one for the fact of I was not in the voice space. Like the industry I was in was automation. So it's not anything physical where voice or telephony things would make sense in the first place. So I had no previous knowledge where I say, okay, yeah, businesses have pain points here. So my way of figuring it out was like doing things on YouTube, right? We just make broad content about voice AI and people come to you naturally because they see you have knowledge in that industry and they will automatically tell you their use cases.
Okay.
So because we serve now such a variety of different businesses with different use cases, we have so much knowledge and can pick which one is actually the one that fits us the most and where we see the most value, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of the one we pursue. And I think one that is incredibly often asked and really good with voice AI is lead qualification, very big one. We do a lot of lead reactivation, which is also a favorite one of ours. But there are many others that are pretty decent. And that's like something I like to teach my community always. Niching down is super, super critical. And mainly for the reason of scaling the agency, right? So what we do is good, but very broad. So you need to have a lot of knowledge. And you'll probably see this as well. If you have like the same kind of use cases, even though they look the same, they're completely different.
Exactly.
Because of target group, CRMs they integrate, etc. And even that makes it really hardly scalable. So the goal in the end is kind of to go in a vertical, build that out, and then maybe even turn this into a SaaS.
Okay.
So yeah, for anyone that is starting, lead qualification, anything inbound where you have warm leads is good. Outbound depends. If you do some lead form ads, it's also a nice example. But we try to avoid cold calling. So that's a very big one.
Probably appointment setting as well?
Yes, correct, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we also get a lot of requests and mostly lead qualification, appointment setting, some kind of integrations with CRM to pass all that information from the qualification process and calls. And this works. Like, would you say that at this stage of the technology advancement, AI voice is really workable and businesses are happy with the quality and overall technology? Or should we wait a little bit till we actually go all in into this specific direction?
I think it depends on your experience on how to sell things properly. Because I believe the solutions are great for specific use cases, but the people who come in, they're usually product unaware in some way. They know that there's voice AI out there that they can use, but they don't really understand the depth of it and what needs to go into. So what we see, for example, we have a lot of client or leads coming in saying, yeah, I built this assistant, it's cool, I tried to play around with it on Vapi. And they kind of expect this to be this whole thing. And they probably expect it to be at a couple of $100, right? Because they could set it up themselves. The problem is in the nuances. That's when the quality comes in. So when we hit them with like a $9,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 bill, they'd be like, wow, where does this come from? So there's just like a lot of unawareness why things are priced that way. But because we know what needs to go into, we also know that we can make it work. So in the end, we have the data now that the results we bring in are actual real results and businesses benefit from it.
Okay.
Like a really awesome use case that we had was for lead reactivation, where I think the client spent around $3,000 to $4,000 for the whole usage. Like that's apart from our fees. So just for the usage, he made like nearly $500,000.
Okay, so the usage is what? AI tokens, Vapi fees, or what else?
Correct, yeah. It's AI tokens, Vapi fees. It's the telephony provider.
Yeah.
So in that case was Twilio.
Yep.
That charges you a fee. And yeah, make.com operations. They're kind of neglectable, but I'd say the majority is probably the voice AI fees.
Would you say use Twilio in most cases?
Not necessarily.
For projects?
That's actually switching as we speak, because we focus more on like mid-size to enterprise, so the bigger size, and they often have their own telephony providers. Okay. So then it's what we call SIP trunking, right? So you integrate a direct SIP to their telephony service. And that means they go around this whole thing of Twilio costs. So they can usually purchase the numbers and calls cheaper, and as well have separate recording from any of the other platforms that we use.
Okay.
So that's a big thing to go into. But to start, Twilio's great.
Okay, sounds good. So maybe let's be a bit more specific. You just mentioned that you might charge your clients 10,000, 20,000 per project, as I understand. Do you mind sharing what might be like monthly recurring revenue for the agency overall? And maybe let's break down one project. Say you would charge them, your client, 10K for a project. What would be the requirements for these projects? What would be the features, like overall technical assignment, high level details, of course, but to give us a better idea what we can expect in terms of a technical complexity for a project that might be worth 10K.
I'd say the technical complexity is actually not even so much of a problem. Like there's so much you can do with just the automation part. The actual value goes into making the conversation smooth and fluent, so that you cover the cases. And because humans are different, even if we test with synthetic data or just we test ourselves, the humans that are like the leads that are actually talking with the AI agent, they are in 100% of the cases talk differently to it than we do.
Yeah.
So that is usually where the majority of the time goes in for testing, revising, prompt engineering. Those kind of things are more important than the technical aspects.
Okay.
Now, this also depends on some things that we just figured out through learning, which is the CRMs that they use. So if you're in the healthcare industry, if you deal with something like Athena or telehealth, so that's big CRMs for the hospitality industry, they are very, very privacy restricted. So you cannot even get access to the API without going through your client, right? So dealing with those CRMs, the project can go from a month to maybe 3 months or 4 months, because you need to go through this whole cycle of proving to them why you need to use the API, which endpoints you use, that you can actually use those endpoints, and submit like a massive document. And that takes a lot of time. So that's another thing that we often need to consider, this complexity. So that is also something that ups the price. For our agency, I would say generally, we do like around 30K bottom line revenue per month.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is, some would maybe consider it monthly recurring revenue. The way we like to promote it inside of my program is that we sell mostly handover solutions. That's what we call it, because it's the easiest to sell, because the client doesn't have any recurring payments involved. So
let's elaborate what is handover solutions.
Yeah. You can imagine that you're a client. You'd like us to build out a voice agent for you.
Yep.
And instead of us building it and just charging you a retainer, we build everything out on your infrastructure. So you will have your own accounts. You have maybe your own Vapi account, your own Make.com account. Our engineers go in, they build everything out, make it ready, so it's completely functional. And then we hand it over. That's my handover solution.
Yeah, we do the same.
Yeah.
Quite often, not always. So we are flexible in our agency. We can do either that approach, handover solutions, or we can also keep everything on our infrastructure and then just charge a monthly retainer. But that makes sense.
Yeah.
We usually just pay attention to what our client needs, and we are flexible to fit their needs.
We do some similar case. I think the best part for this is probably something that you see as well. Because it's one time, a lot of people say, yeah, it's probably not the best approach, but you can do a upsell to make it recurring. Because a lot of clients, especially when they see it works, right? In the beginning, I think it might be even the commitment that they don't want to go into. But when they see it works, usually it's too complicated for them to adjust the things themselves, or they will see they break it, and then they come back to us. So even though it's not mandatory, a lot of clients want some recurring stuff happening.
Yeah, we have the same. We have the same case. All right. So again, 10K project, it might be the same in terms of technical description, but because of the little things, different CRM systems, different prompt engineering, different workflow scenarios, it might be like twice as expensive or more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Correct.
Cool. So maybe let's switch towards more beginner stuff. And if you could share, if you had to start over, what would you do differently? Or if you had to start today, how would you do that? What would be your approach? Let's imagine that a person that is excited about the AI space. We all can see that it is not going anywhere. It is going to stay. It is going to be implemented across different industries, and I want to contribute and leverage this opportunity to make money. How would you start?
Good question. It's very interesting to see, because this whole market we're in is shifting so fast that by the month we have a whole different approach on how we need to do things. Mainly because we have either new features coming out, maybe even new tools. So if I need to start out, if it comes to finding the right niche, I'd probably do what I did right now, which is going general, just trying to cover as many use cases, going about the technicality. So what you actually use in the backend to build solutions, and see what kind of clients come to you. They come to you because they have some use case or some problem in mind that they'd like to have solved, right? So you get immediate feedback. What I would do different is that I would not wait and get hung up on every single client that comes in that has a different use case, But once I see one that is really good, I would immediately focus on that one. Because that's a big game changer. Because we're getting all stuck with this general thing. And once you're in 3-4 different projects, it can go on forever. And that's like a big, big thing.
Exactly. So this is exactly the stage where we are right now. I haven't noticed a really repeatable problem yet. And that's our main focus for this year. So we want to identify that particular niche or problem that we could solve with a templated solution and then go all in. So I'd say that first of all, you need to become an expert or bring in experts as your business partner or as an employee, but you need to have that expertise in your team first of all. And then it really depends on your background. If you are an insider in a particular industry and you have 15 years of experience, I'd rather focus on potential problems you can solve with AI for that industry because you know ins and outs of that space. But if you are an outsider for all the industries and you don't have any specific background, start general, try to do a lot of projects and identify which kind of problem can be solved repeatedly. And that is our approach as well. Cool. I'm glad we are aligned. So maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we all kind of like follow the same goals in the voice AI space. And since it's so new, there's so many commonalities.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you do it right, it's going to work out right.
And also voice AI, like if you think about voice as a platform, like you can think about mobile as a platform. But if you think about voice, it is so broad, it is so huge. Think about all the call centers, all the receptionists, so huge space that you can actually transform with AI because it's already so advanced and the latency is so great and it's almost not noticeable. So I am really excited about voice AI, and currently most of our projects are also AI voice solutions. Previously it was text-based, now it's voice-based.
Yeah. It's exactly like I say, right now at this point in time, voice, it's the fastest method of us being able to communicate with technology.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's faster. And I think until we have brain implants, it's not going to be anything else either.
Yeah, we might get them soon.
Yeah, let's see.
All right, maybe one more question about social media, lead generation overall. So we both know that YouTube is a great traffic channel for this niche, for this space. We both run our YouTube channels, but imagine that YouTube is not your option. And if not YouTube, what would you do? How would you generate leads? I know that you use our other channels, maybe an advice on that. So if you need to generate leads and you can't do YouTube, what would you do?
Good question. I think YouTube is great because it brings probably the most warm leads, right? So closing someone is a lot easier.
Yeah, inbound.
So, if there's no objection of you being on the camera, I would probably go for YouTube.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I do think that LinkedIn is a really good option.
Okay.
Right? If you want to spend not much money at all for any kind of extra tools. But apart from that, the most effective way, once you, I don't know, even if you want to go general, it's probably ads. I'll just run ads.
Just paid ads?
Yeah.
Okay, but to run paid ads, don't you have to create an offer and understand who you target?
It makes definitely sense to have an offer. So if you already have industry experience from the past, so if you're in the real estate space,
then you can go outbound, outreach, paid ads, whatever.
But even if you don't have that, you can just simulate an offer. Just what you think makes sense. So we have like, in my course, we have a lot of modules that literally just focus on how do you find your proper niche. So how do you actually research what the pain points of people are? And when you have them, you can just promote the pain points. And you create like, let's say 10 different ad sets for different niches.
Okay.
And you just run them for a couple of dollars, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a bit of money to spend, that's a very easy way because it's not even about closing them. It's just seeing how much engagement is with a certain problem.
Okay. So what you're saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong, first just build a hypothesis about the pain points for a particular niche or industry. Build that hypothesis and see how you can solve them. Build your offer and then just test it one by one until you see better retention and better traction. That would be
kind
the
of
game.
Yeah. It can be even less than that. If you, because I like to promote or market the pain points because people can feel that it's like emotionally connected. So if there are pain points and you just market them in your ads, saying like, "Are you struggling with X, Y, Z?" The people are more torn towards that, and then you can just mention something very general. It's like if you have the same kind of issues, we do have solutions for that. You'd like to reach out, and you just see how many people are actually interacting with that.
Okay.
So it's lead that I can use later on, but it also gives you insights on what thing might work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I personally believe that it is really hard to construct your hypothesis without being an insider and just based on your analysis outside the industry, because still AI space is not that adapted yet, and it is hard to sell it cold outbound leads. And so, yeah, I'd focus, if you don't have a background in a particular industry, I'd focus on general approach and generating inbound leads. Those are much easier to close.
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable with YouTube and talking to a camera, I'm not comfortable as well. Just do it. So that's the way.
Yeah.
That's your business. Just do it or stay where you are. All right. The last question today. Thanks so much for sharing everything. It will be super valuable for the community. And now let's do some crazy predictions for 2025 in terms of new announcement or some kind of releases in the AI space or just overall technology advancement. What do you think might be possible by the end of the year? Let me provide you an example I've been thinking about. So my guess is that by the end of the year, it will be possible to have AI Zoom calls. So last year we had AI voice, which became really workable and it feels natural. We are going to have the same with AI video calls, where you have an AI avatar. Lip syncing is great. It feels natural. And maybe it will get to the point where I say, get your AI, talk to my AI, and they will solve that issue. That might be the case. What do you think?
Yeah, I like those agentic systems a lot. Like, I think it's going to be all agentic in the future.
Yeah.
And I think right now we're at that stage where people trying to have agents building agents, so that you don't even need to write your own agents, so that they can delegate the task themselves. That's going to be something really cool.
Yeah.
If I even see, I mean, I'm in the voice space, right? So that's probably where I'm closest to. I do believe we see a massive shift in going from horizontal solutions of building voice agents to vertical solutions.
Yeah.
So there are people in the space that are good with programming. They build something for a specific use case, which gives us not the advantage to be like the middleman. So instead of us building the solution, we hand them over. We just get a commission for that. They specialize on that use case. We don't need to do much, right? Except of bringing them the people.
Yeah.
So that's the switch we're probably going to see. And I'm very, very excited for this.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Thank you very much.
Of course.
If you like this kind of format, just let me know in the comments. I'm going to leave all the links to Jannis's social media and YouTube channel, etc. Let us know if you liked it, and we'll do more content. See you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Nice.
Wow, that was great. Thank you.
Good one, yeah.
Yeah, let's do another one.